I'm Joe.
And I'm Lee.
We are the Rewinders, rewatching childhood movies to see if they still hold up. This time, we watched
Aliens. With an S. The sequel to Alien.
Yes.
Aliens. A lot of people, when they say it, they think, oh, you the first one? No, that one's Alien. This one's Aliens. It's
Yeah.
clever to say Aliens instead of Alien 2.
I even heard someone the other day referencing Aliens 3 as Aliens 4. And I'm like, what in the... How... And then on top of it, they talked about the kid in Aliens as being part of that movie.
No, wait, you're saying Winona Ryder in Aliens 4? Or are they saying the kid... Okay.
Well, Winona... Yeah, no.
I know what you're saying.
Yes.
Oh, man.
It was one of those, like, nails on chalkboard moments where I'm just
Yes.
like, I need to correct you, but I'm walking away.
Well, this is Aliens First Blood Part 1. Oh, man. No, Aliens 1986. This one is directed by and written by James Cameron.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is important. This is his second movie, because I think his first one was Terminator, The Terminator.
Okay, so that one was first.
Yeah, that was his first one on his own. I think that's the first one he directed too, because he was a he was a special effects guy and scene builder for can't think of the gentleman's name. He makes tons of cheap movies. Roger Corman.
Oh, okay.
Okay, there he is. And that's where he learned his craft and how to make things look as good as they can with a budget. And surprisingly, this movie, it was only $18 million back in 1986. I looked it up and did math.
Mm-hmm.
And for inflation, it cost only $43 million.
Yeah, that's not much at all.
That's
for a
nothing
big
for this
action
huge
movie.
action movie with
Yeah.
special effects everywhere. And it looks great still, I think, to this day.
For the most part, yes.
And that's what I remember as a kid was how big of a movie this was. All the Marines with all their gear, their awesome guns. This one I remember a lot as from a kid.
Yeah, with the gear, for the most part, everything has a place, and if it's there, there's a purpose.
Yep, there's a reason for it too.
So there isn't fluff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you do kind of have their body plate armor, but
Yeah.
and there's not that much of a point to it. But I mean, if you consider it as flak gear, then
Yes.
it has point.
Well, yeah. And that's what we don't really know about the colonial Marines is what are they usually up against? They're not usually up against aliens with acid blood.
Well,
or-
yeah, not with acid.
So yeah,
blood,
their
but
armor
they,
really doesn't do anything.
They
for
do
them.
mention that they've been up
bug hunts.
bug hunts, and they've
Yeah.
encountered other alien
Maybe,
races
yeah,
that
yeah.
they've had a good time with.
that were a lot easier to deal with than
Yes,
these.
this was new.
Xenomorphs. Yeah. But so would you say this is definitely a childhood movie that, like we've done other movies in the past where we barely remember?
Oh no! This one I don't remember when I started watching it,
Mhm.
but I've watched it many times since it came out. It's almost scene by scene etched into my brain.
I would agree. Well, do we talk about the first movie, Alien? A little bit, I guess, or not too much.
No,
No?
we're just
Okay,
going to go
okay.
on the assumption that everyone knows what happened.
Yeah, watch that movie too. Very good. Yeah. So we start and we're on a ship floating through space, and we go inside of it, and it is a little bit ice covered. All the equipment is shut down, and then we see a pod that has ice over it, and then a larger ship tractor beaming it or getting a hold of it in space. And then I like how the door cuts open. It's precise. Yeah, a robot arm cuts the door open, and then laser beam comes through to scan it. And I like that the computer of this little ship turns on, the way the computer sounds are. Typewriter-ish, electronic.
Just terminal, like early terminals. Yeah.
A lot of grinding sounds. I really like that. A bunch of people come in, and they're in spacesuits, and they see that here is, there's a woman in a pod and a cat in a hyper sleep thing or something. I can't remember what they call it.
Yeah, I think it was called hypersleep.
Hypersleep, something like that. They were disappointed because they thought they were going to able to salvage this ship, but now there's a survivor here. Cut to Earth, a beautiful. Is it Earth? Though?
I tried to judge. It looks like
I think it's Earth.
So it's it fades with her face.
Yeah,
as Earth.
I think it is Earth, and there's a space station around there or a matte painting. But it looks great. Ripley, she is played by Sigourney Weaver, and she is in medical bay and
wakes up from a nightmare.
Yeah, she wakes up right away from a nightmare, and there's a nurse there saying that you need something to help you sleep, relax, you're safe. And Paul Reiser, a guy comes in. His name is Burke. He comes in. He's holding Ripley's cat named Jonesy, And he was along for the adventure in the first movie as well. They're the last two survivors of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And she's happy to see Jonesy, and I'm not happy to see Paul Reiser.
No one's happy to see Paul Reiser.
And because this is something that, since I saw this movie first, and I associate Paul Reiser with this character, my wife really likes Mad About You, the TV show he was on. I can't watch it because I hate Paul Reiser so much. Just sorry, I can't do it.
See, now I watched a lot of Mad About You as well,
Mhm.
and I was easy to separate them. But
Fair enough.
But yeah,
I can't.
if
I can't.
I'd watch it now, just after coming off the movie,
Paul Reiser.
no,
Oh,
he's
Burke.
dead to me.
Mm-hmm. So this character Burke, he sits down and he says, "I'm here with the company." He calls it. Says that, has nobody talked to you about how long you've been asleep? She says no. He says, you've been asleep for 57 years. Your craft spaceship flew through our core systems, and just on a miraculous luck that you were caught by a salvage team. So you're lucky to be alive and surviving a sleep that long. And that's why she doesn't recognize the space station and all the
Fancy new technology.
new technology that has advanced since then. She starts to have a panic attack. Yeah, starts slowing down, starts losing hearing, and then Jonesy the cat
starts hissing and running away.
Yeah. And then, oh no, kill me. She starts freaking out and then looks down at her chest, belly, and she has a chest burster alien trying to pop out of her. And then she wakes up.
Just before it starts singing show tunes.
Before it... We'll get to that. Oh, I don't want to say anything about Spaceballs because that's another movie. But anyway, yeah, and then she wakes up in another nightmare. Right away, the nurse needs some drugs.
Yep.
Having trouble sleeping? Yeah, a
Well,
little monitor turns on.
Yeah.
Want some drugs? Go to sleep.
Come on, it's the future. She would just have hit a button already been drugs in her.
It was instantaneous, too, that how she just pops up in the monitor. Having trouble sleeping? I guess,
Yeah.
Surveillance, keep watch on her. Come to one of the first... So, I forgot to say, we watched the director's cut of this movie, which I personally think is the only way to watch this movie. Because it has a lot more stuff, a lot more scenes that really flesh out the characters and what's happening and the story. And it's all good. None of it is unnecessary, in my opinion.
It's not like the theatrical cut doesn't survive on its own, but it gives you that extra bit of knowledge of who certain characters are and motivations.
Yeah, a lot of motivation. And here, and this next scene is from the director cut. That's not in the theatrical cut. Ripley is sitting on a park bench by some trees. She doesn't look to be too happy, and then she picks up a remote and turns off the background, which was just a giant TV. She's still on the space station. Burke comes by. She says, "Have you any news on my daughter?" And he says, "Hey, I want to brief you on the meeting with the company first." Yeah, my daughter. Oh, Burke says, your daughter. Here's a picture of her. She was 66, but she died 2 years ago. I'm sorry. And the funny thing is, for us, because we're from Wisconsin, she was buried in Little Chute, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Little shout out, which is...
So now that also makes me want to jump back to the first movie to see if they reference anything from Wisconsin in that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think I looked up just briefly. It doesn't say that Ellen Ripley is from Wisconsin at all, but we'll assume.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't know.
We'll say she is. And so, she sees a picture printout of her daughter, who's an old lady, dead.
Looks older than 66.
But yeah, 66. That's not old enough. And I don't know. But whatever, she died.
Yeah.
And so that just sets up that, she was a mom. She did say, I promised to come back to her, and I didn't. So that's a little bit of that. Then they go to the meeting, and a bunch of bigwigs are, whoa, tell us a story again. I already told you how many more times you want me to tell this same story over and over again? I've been here for 3 hours.
Yeah. And it's basically just there to make her snap. And when she does, they can strip her of all her position and title and basically leave her with nothing because the company wanted something and she didn't let that happen.
Exactly, yeah. Her pilot license is revoked. She's no longer a officer. They're going to do more inquests later. And she's just adamant, no, there are these we land on a planet on orders from your company to pick up these aliens, and we did so, and then only one killed my entire crew, and I'm the only survivor, and we had to blow up the ship to stop it to not die. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter anyway. We have a a colony there. They've been there for 20 years, and they have never seen any aliens that you talk about here. What? She
Yeah.
says. You guys are crazy.
Now, also, this board is the ICC, which I can't remember if they listed what
know.
the ICC is. In my interpretation, it's the council that oversees interstellar traffic, flight, that kind of stuff. So that's not Weyland-Yutani at this point. It's not the company. But obviously the company has major sway into the ICC, allowing that whole situation to happen.
Yeah, and that's I guess I didn't notice that because I always thought the company has such great influence on everything. Weyland-Yutani?
Weyland-Yutani.
Yutani. Okay.
I always...
Yeah, I usually just say Weyland because
Weyland is
easier to say. Yeah. Corporation. Then we cut... We do go to another of the, not necessarily deleted scenes, but extended scenes where we're on planet LV, or actually it's a moon, LV-426, and it's a windy, kind of stormy-ish type planet, and there's,
it's windy and stormy because Weyland-Yutani's got a atmosphere creator on it.
Yeah, that's right. They said they terraform planets now. They've been doing it for a long time, and they have hundreds of planets they've been terraforming. And this is one of them. Inside of one of the buildings, the guy is just saying, "Hey, I have a family on the Horn. They went out to investigate this area. They're wondering if they find something, they get to keep it. Yeah, whatever. If they find it, they can keep it. I don't question the company, basically."
Yep, and that's the big part of the scene.
Yeah, that's the scene.
Stating that they were sent there.
They were sent by the company.
By the company.
So whatever they find, it takes two weeks to get any information anyway from the company. So whatever. And then we see a bunch of kids playing around in where they shouldn't be, like on little building better worlds.
That's the Big Wheels.
Oh, Big Wheels. That's right. I couldn't remember the name. Yeah, building better worlds. And then we go to a big truck going out into, right? This is Newt's family. Yeah, they're going out into exploring. And the planet's dark, and it's got just gray rocks everywhere. It's shadowy. There's a little bit of light, but not too much, and it's just windy. And they go to, the coordinates are over here where we're told to go. And it's a family with... So you have a little girl, little boy, mom and dad, and they find a spaceship from the first movie. It looks like a big U. A big U. The parents stay here. They go out. They stay here, but they've been gone for a long time. They come back. The mom opens the door, and it's one of the first of many screams from the character Newt.
Oh, God, yes.
As she sees her dad has a face hugger alien wrapped around his face, hugging him.
With love.
Aw. The tail wrapped around his neck, and she does a scream as the camera zooms into it. I think now we're at Ripley's apartment. Yeah,
we have Marine and Burke.
Yeah, Lieutenant Gorman and Burke knock on her door. She's in a crappy apartment. There's graffiti and garbage in a small apartment, and looks like barely any place to live.
Yeah, everything's in one room.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, it's all compact. And before this she had a nightmare, just another nightmare of waking up.
She also abused her water.
She hit it? She slapped it?
No. She just left it running for far too long. Because I'm assuming they're still on the space station.
I'm pretty sure they're still on the space station.
And I can't believe that she left the water running for so long in her sink after washing her face from her nightmare. I fixated on that a little bit too much.
I didn't notice, but she almost died versus an alien and survived. She can waste a little bit of water. Okay.
You tell that to the other people on that space station.
All right, I'll tell them later. Burke and this colonel, or no, the colonel, Marine, sorry. He's not a colonel. He's only a lieutenant. They're there because they've lost contact with LV-426, and they want her to come by with them as a consultant because she knows about these aliens. And of course she says, no.
Hell no.
That is insane. No way do I want to go do this. And Burke says, well, I could get you reinstated. Right now, the best job you can get is working at the dock. So I can get you reinstated as a flight commander so you can have a ship again. So Burke says, these Marines here, they're tough.
Tough hombres.
We do it. They're tough hombres. They're made to deal with things like this. So they're going. And she says, no, I don't want to do it. And then she has another nightmare, wakes up. Then she calls Burke in the middle of the night. Promise me that you're going to this planet to kill and wipe out all the aliens, not to study them. And Burke says sleepily on the other video line, yes, I promise. I give you my word.
Now, when Burke and the Marine are in Ripley's apartment, the thing to pay attention to in that scene is that honestly, Paul Reiser, his character doesn't look much older than the character of Ripley.
No, not at all.
He calls her kiddo the whole time.
Oh, wow. I didn't notice that.
And when he mentions what type of work she's got, I mean, he is laying it thick on that.
Oh, it's great
That's
work.
That's a terrible job.
It's a terrible job, but it's good.
It's good. It's what you got. It's what all you're ever going to be. I mean, he's really leaning heavy on the dick-ishness to try and force her into it.
Oh, he gets more dick-tastic later.
Yes.
But yeah, she calls and says, yeah, I'll agree to go with you. And then she turns to Jonesy, the cat, and says, you're staying here this time, which is one of the best decisions Ripley's ever made. Although I wonder who's taking care of Jonesy.
Jonesy's working the lifters.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. It's good. It's the best work he could get. It's okay. It's honorable work, I guess. Not a flight captain or anything.
And then it goes to
the ship.
What's the name of it?
Sulaco.
Yeah, because I only hear them say it once in the movie.
As the ship is going by, it looks like a big submarine. It's printed on the side.
Yeah. It's one of those shots that makes me think of like Star Wars and stuff like that when you see that. But then it goes inside the hangar bay, and the camera goes past all the pulse rifles. I wrote them down as tactical nukes. They're just smart missiles, I believe. And then one of the landers before it goes through other areas like the lockers and stuff like that, just to give the idea of we're in the Marine Corps kind of thing now.
And it's quiet. And the camera just goes across, fades to from one part of the ship to the other, and then it goes across. Yeah, the lockers, and there's just a table, and then these dumb things in the 80s that we had that were the silver balls that were gyroscope type things that
They're
were just
still out there.
Yeah, but I just remember in the 80s that they were brand new and popular, and they made it into this movie because they look futuristic, I guess. But that's the only movement you see on the tables, and then it goes over, and there's a whole row of sleeping pods, and then computer turns on, which I love, and then all the pods open up, and
with another really good sound effect, in my opinion.
This movie, James Cameron knew what he's doing. He has it all in his brain. I can see it. Just I don't know. Anyway. He knows what he wants. He's a jerk director to work with, from what I understand, but that's because he knows exactly what he wants. Sure. And I'm sure even comes on to sound effects because, they open up, and I saw and then a bunch of other Marines there, and Ripley is there, and she's sleeping with one of her arms up over her head, and they've been asleep for presumably, I think, 2 weeks at least, or 17 days, they say how long it takes to get there. I think they say later on it takes 17 days.
Sure.
As a travel from Earth to here. Oh, your arm's got to be just the blood rushed down. Maybe I don't know how their sleep chambers work.
That's why they don't say that kind of stuff.
They
don't.
It doesn't matter.
Someone will be there going, that's not how the body works.
And, they're all in their underwears.
Yeah.
And now we're starting to get introduced to all the cocky Marines.
Yeah, Apone gets up first and
Sergeant Apone
chucks a cigar in his mouth right away.
All right, ladies, everybody up.
It's another beautiful day in the Corps.
That's right. Yeah, he just loves being a Marine. And the actor who played him, he was actually in the military, so you could.
He does have that vibe.
You can definitely tell. And then we have Michael Biehn playing Corporal Hicks, who's just
Reese.
Yeah, he plays a bunch of awesome characters in movies. He's all sleepy faced, and they say, "Oh, your face looks as terrible as I feel, Hicks." And then we have the loudmouth of the group, played by Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Bill Paxton. Hudson, and he's, "Ooh, the floor is cold, Sarge. I hate this job." He just complains a lot, and then they notice Ripley, and one of the other Marines asks, "Who's Sleeping Beauty?"
Frost asks.
Frost asks, "Who's Sleeping Beauty over there?"
Either he does or Vasquez asks Frost.
Something like that. Okay, I remember that.
All the main ones I know. There's a few in the background that I could see better this time round. With Blu-ray, I can see them all.
Yes, and that's why I watched it too.
But like the major ones I pretty well have.
Mm-hmm. We have Vasquez, and she is right away. She's got to do some pull-ups right away to keep sculpting her awesome guns. There's another guy. His name is Drake. He's completely infatuated with her.
Oh, I thought that was Frost. My bad.
Frost is a tall black guy.
Okay.
Drake is the pale.
Drake was the one.
He's a really pale guy, and he is always saying, "You're awesome. Keep doing what you're doing, Vasquez. You're badass."
She is badass.
Because she is
Jesus.
badass. And yeah, they both start doing pull-ups. And then Hicks comes by. No, Hudson, excuse me.
Hudson, but that's also part of the.
That's part of the joke. Yeah, Hudson comes by, Bill Paxton, and says, "Hey, Vasquez, anybody ever convince
Confuse you.
confuse you for a woman, for a man?" Okay, well, okay,
Jeez, you're
okay. Let's start over. So you get at this. Then Hudson comes over, played by Bill Paxton, over to Vasquez, who's doing pull-ups, and asks, "Hey, Vasquez, does anybody ever confuse you for a man?" "No. Has anybody ever
Well, it's like me telling a joke. This is how bad this is.
I can't tell the joke.
Basically, she turns the joke on him, and it's funny.
Because she's awesome. Anyway, yeah, they're looking at and wondering what this civilian is doing here.
Yeah,
with Ripley.
The pilot then is there. I can't remember what her name is.
I don't remember her name, but yeah, she's a pilot.
And the weenie co-pilot.
Sturgemeister, something like that. But yeah, they don't get mentioned. They get mentioned maybe once.
Yeah, there's a few then in the background, like the medic gets a line or two. But that's
she gets a line or two, but not much.
And there's the guy that ends up carrying all the ammo later is also like
that's Frost.
That was Frost.
Yeah.
See, the background ones I still don't have down.
But yeah, so they're getting their clothes on, and now they're going to have a little bit of breakfast. Have some cornbread, and they still don't know what the mission is, but they don't care. They're cocky. They're going to be able to take care of everything. Yeah. They know they're going to go save some colonists and save them daughters from their virginity. Waka, waka, waka. Yeah. Then Hudson says, "Hey, Bishop," played by Lance Henriksen, "come over here. Do that trick with the knife." And he hands him a knife, and Bishop's kind of, "I really don't want to. Come on, it'll be fun." "All right, go ahead." Makes him put his hand down, and it's that famous scene where Drake comes on and makes sure it holds his hand down, holds Hudson's hand so he can't move. But what Bishop does is he puts his hand over his hand to protect it.
Yeah,
and then does the knife between the fingers.
Which, because of this movie,
yep, everybody did this.
We all did.
Everybody did this in grade school.
Stupid crap with pencils, with actual knives,
forks at lunchtime.
Doesn't matter what it was. We all did this so many times.
Exactly, it's just one of those things that happened so frequently in grade school.
And then I learned with Red Dead Redemption, it's called the 5-finger fillet.
Oh, is that an actual thing, or did that video game take it from this movie?
I don't know. They do it in the game,
Okay,
and that's
fair
what they
enough.
call it. So maybe that's what it's called.
Apparently, Bill Paxton didn't know that they were going to be doing this.
Well, and they're not doing it at the speed in the movie, so
What?
it's not that bad.
Oh, okay. Of course not.
Well, that would help him get into character when they
He's
let him
going,
go.
because Bishop is going faster and faster and faster at impossible speed. In between, doesn't even hurt him. Says thank you, it's fine. Goes and sits down with Ripley, Lieutenant, and Burke, and then someone says, "Hey, Bishop, I thought you never missed," because he nicked himself in his finger, and a little bit of milk comes out.
Man's made of milk.
Man is made of milk. He's got white blood, and this makes Ripley freak out because Bishop is an android. And in the first movie, Ash, that android, had orders from the company to get the alien and to kill the rest of the crew, and tried doing that. That's why. So Ripley doesn't trust.
Spoilers.
For the first movie?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a spoiler. It's a movie from 1979. You haven't seen it? Tough luck.
No, I've only seen scenes of it.
Wait. What? You've never seen Alien?
No.
Joe, that movie's fantastic.
I own it now, so I have the chance.
They're two different movies.
I know. I bought the anthology.
What is wrong? Joe. Oh, man. Well, I spoiled them for us.
Well, no, I knew he went crazy because
Okay.
they say so.
Yes, okay.
But I didn't know the reason.
Aww.
Anyway.
So Ripley doesn't trust Bishop, but Bishop says, "Oh yeah, those old android models, they were a bit twitchy.
Yeah, to put it lightly.
I can never harm anyone else, and I can never harm a human, basically."
But a creepy android like that saying that?
Yeah, and
how do you trust that?
Lance, he's a very creepy looking man, and that's why they got him. They want his big
awesome.
eyes and just staring, his large forehead, and his weird haircut that he has.
That's the thing. As a kid, I was never really afraid of him.
No, not really.
But you always got that whole sense of,
he's not right.
do you really trust?
Because there's some times where he's just staring off into space because he's probably calculating something.
Yeah.
And, oh yeah, there's nothing behind those eyes.
Monotone.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all very matter of fact, so yeah.
Yeah. Then they say, okay, well, we're going to do the mission briefing, and they do it in the hangar bay. Lieutenant's telling them what they're about. They're going to check out the colony, see if there's these so-called xenomorphs actually there that we don't believe yet. We don't believe Ripley at all.
And then Ripley does a little talk, and they're like, pshaw.
Believe me, we'll get them. Vasquez says something like, just tell me where the aliens are, and I'll shoot them. Then Hudson says something like, when they said aliens, she thought she heard illegal aliens, and then she signed up in the Marine Corps. So still have illegal Mexicans doing things.
Yep.
In the future! Gotta build that wall! Anyway. But yeah, they don't really believe Ripley about this.
No.
And an entire time, Hudson is just cracking jokes constantly, like how to get out of this chicken shit operation.
Well, and it's the officer. This is like his first time with this crew.
Yeah,
he's not exactly used to it, but he read all their profiles, and he tells Hicks. He calls him Hicks, and then he's like, "My name's Hudson."
That's Hicks over there. He gets the two confused
which is to me very funny because as a kid, I couldn't keep them straight.
Hudson Hicks.
As an adult, I can totally keep them straight, but as a child, I was like, I understand.
Well, and it shows it in experience, but I want to call Hicks Hudson because it's a better sounding last name than Hicks. Sounds hicky and Bill.
I had a neighbor with the last name Hicks.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Was he nice? He wasn't a hick though? Nice guy?
No, they were very nice people.
Well, I had neighbors last name Hudson. So they have a mission briefing, and I like that after the mission briefing, Sergeant Apone says, "Hey, Hudson, get over here. Everybody else get your gear going. Asses and elbows. Get over here. Get over here. I'm going to chew you out." Basically say, I know that new lieutenant doesn't know how to treat you, but I do. Knock it the frick off. Chewing a cigar, of course.
Yeah.
Yep. Then they start loading up the ship. And we have these awesome mecha suits things.
Yeah. Probably one of the cooler things about this movie growing up was those loader mechs.
Because they were actually there. They weren't CG'd. Yeah, they were puppets. There's another person behind it. So there's actually two people in it. Yeah, the actor in front, and then you have another person behind to help operate it, and a bunch of other stuff. Yep, loading up missiles and stuff onto the drop ship.
Ripley wants something to do.
Yep, she's bored.
So she says she's a
Class 2 license.
Class 2 license, so I guess that's good.
That's good,
and
Class 2 license.
So she hops in and does a little flourish with it and picks up something and poses.
Where do you want it?
Over there.
Yep, so Hicks and Apone both laugh. Cargo bay number 12, thank you very much. And this is the first time that Hicks makes eyes at Ripley. I'm shipping them.
And it's also important the fact that we all now know that she knows how to effectively work.
She knows how to work that. She knows how to work it.
So then we quickly go from that to the actual loading up.
Yep, putting on their gear. They're putting on their armor, getting all their guns ready. Vasquez and Drake, they both have these long, they're called smart guns or something. They're like attached to their bodies, so like these
on a Steadicam rig.
They are Steadicam rigs, and yeah, they're flexing their big muscles and.
Well, they were cool guns.
They're awesome. And everyone else has pulse rifles and flamethrowers and helmets, and they've all individually added stuff to their armor and to their guns. All the actors, and they did this on purpose to be sort of like Vietnam. Was the idea of. Yeah, putting like skull and crossbones or hearts or sayings on their armor to get into character. That's what James Cameron had them do. So you can see that on them. I don't know.
Yeah, it helps tell them
apart.
Help
tell them apart. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. The sergeants, let's move, go, hop, move. Yep. Oh yeah!
Hurry up and wait.
Get over, run over to that line to stand in front before we load you up in the ACP.
Yeah, you know me.
APC. Armor Personnel Carrier. I said it right the first time.
Poorly designed APC at that.
How dare you? This was an actual revamped truck. It was like a British aircraft tug mover.
Okay, yeah. When you say that,
'Cause it
the
was flat.
tires and
Mhm.
how low to the ground it is, that makes sense.
Because they had to cut budget. They didn't have a big budget for this movie, so they saw this because it was shot all in England. Okay, we can use this and just put some guns on it, and I think it looks badass.
It looks really cool, but it would be totally ineffectual
Yes.
on the planet's surface, no matter where you would go.
Yeah, because it's really low to the ground.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's huge, 7 foot.
And they never use the
Wheels.
guns on the front.
They have miniguns in the front and a big two cannons on the back.
Did they even use the cannon on the top?
Never used any of the guns.
Such a waste.
I know it's a waste, but it looks awesome, and they're all lined up. Hurry up and wait! Bunch of badasses. Ooh, all right, get in the car.
Get in the car.
Get in the little car like a bunch of clowns. And I think they said it could only hold 3 people max. So
Well, yeah,
then they had to edit it around.
The inside is obviously
way bigger.
Way bigger.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's bigger on the inside. They all get in, and everybody's loading up, and they're all hoorahing, and they're all
Slapping each
slapping each other.
other.
We're a bunch of badass. We're going to take care of this. Yeah, the truck loads into a ship because it also has a picture. It says bug squashers or something. It's like an eagle with giant boots
Okay.
on the side. I didn't notice it this time. I didn't notice until this time because I saw it in Blu-ray. I could actually see what that
It's not
picture
all
is on the side of the
muddy and
ship.
dark.
Yeah, they're all getting in, and basically Hudson is just talking up a
Yeah,
storm.
he's
of
doing
how,
the last checks.
and
then
how
trying to hoot and holler everyone up.
saying how
and-
tough they are and everything like that. They're getting ready, literally. They've arrived at the planet. That's why, and they open up the bomb bay doors, basically, and the ship just drops into orbit as it's going into, it drops down into the planet.
It's called the drop shit.
Sorry,
shit
yes,
For a reason.
yep. I love that Hicks falls asleep. Everyone else is hoorah, and he's like, whatever. There's turbulence, everyone's shaking, and he's just completely asleep. And this is a time they have to talk to the lieutenant and ask, so how many drops have you done? 36, 38 simulated. Okay, how many combat missions? 2, including this one. Fuck. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yep.
But he's sitting there. He's always like, we're going to do this by the books, by the numbers.
It's going to be a clean operation.
Well, that's because that's all he knows.
Yeah, exactly. He's never had anything go tits up on him. Hudson is saying, we'll keep you safe, Ripley. We're a bunch of badasses. We got laser cannon beam things over here. Ooh, we got pulse rifles over here. Ah! At the same time, then, Lieutenant is checking all their monitors because they have heart rate and cameras on them, and he's got his own little command center right there so you can see what everybody is doing. Ship lands, drops off the APC, ship takes off, and they're zooming right away towards I forgot if you mentioned the name of the place.
Hadley's Hope.
Hadley's Hope, population 158.
Pull up to the north door.
Yep,
Yep.
it's raining. They all hop out, and they're in 2 different squads as they just move up to the big doors, and they look around, and it's abandoned. There's nobody there. There's wind blowing. There's
Quiet.
there's garbage floating around, and there's tarps flapping in the wind. It's quiet. Some lights are on, but it looks basically abandoned.
Yeah, and slightly trashed.
They open up the doors, and they can see the hallway and the grid. That stuff has just been from the ceiling is ripped down. There's just wires and other cables and stuff. Yeah, it looks bad in there as they slowly go through, and they say, small arms fire here. A couple of little explosions happened. They were fighting against something, but nobody around.
Find some acid burns.
They find, and then Ripley says, see, look, acid burns from the acid blood. They find a couple of gerbils or whatever, because they have these sensors that can detect movement, and they think it's something, but it's just gerbils or mice or whatever that are left there.
They're hamsters.
Hamsters,
I think.
that's what they are.
So then the commander calls it's clear, to which Ripley doesn't believe
Not
it.
clear.
And then they all move in at that point because it's clear, it's good.
Good enough.
You're going to go in and check the mainframe computer and stuff. They find the doors that have been barricaded but broken
That's right.
through. And around that time,
So the last stand over in the ops center.
There's some movement and they all shoot at it.
Yeah, because Drake is going to automatically shoot at it, but Hicks, being more smart of the Marines, pushes his big gun out of the way, and so it hits the ceiling, and then they find a little girl
hiding in the air vents.
Yep, find her, and she's a little bit dirty, a little feral, not talking, and in like this little junky room with a bunch of food and clothing and garbage and whatever she could find. Girl fights a little bit trying to get away because she's terrified, but then calms down. They bring her back. That's right. And then they find out that her name is Rebecca, but she likes to be called Newt. My name is Newt. And she is catatonic and not talking. And they're asking a bunch of questions. The lieutenant says, well, she's useless. I didn't get a response out of her right away. Yeah.
Throw her out.
Get rid of her. I don't care. But Ripley keeps talking to her and just finds out that, her parents are dead. She had a brother, but who knows what happened to him. And yeah, she says, they're dead, okay? Leave me alone. Can I go now?
The little girl plays a very good shell shock victim.
Yes, very, very good. Because you can see that when Ripley is asking about these things, you can see in her eyes probably the horror that she witnessed of these monsters coming in. That was a very, very good. This was mentioned earlier that when Newt's family were going out, they mentioned, the mom said, hey, I don't want you to crawling around those vents like the other kids. And they say, but all the kids do that, just to show that she knows her way around the base through the vents, which is called good screenwriting.
It's not beating people over the head.
Nope, very subtle, just some mention, but it's there. They set up things.
So then that's when they notice everyone's gathered.
Yeah, all the colonists are underneath a cooling tank.
In the atmosphere.
That's right, the converter.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they head on over there.
Yep, they all get in the carrier and head on over there. All the Marines head on out while basically civilians, and Newt is with them, stay in there, and they're monitoring. And they say they're in sub-level 3, start working their way down. As they get closer, they can start to see that parts of the walls are changing. They're no longer just metal, and they're starting to look alien-like.
Oh.
I think the medic Marine notices, something secreted this or something, as she touches it.
Yeah.
And Hicks says, secreted by what? I don't want to know what did this, as it's, covering the walls. And, the tunnels are looking more like alien tunnel things, spiny and dark.
And that's around the time where the thought comes out that this is the cooling area.
Yeah.
So if anything is busted up, it's going to cause a meltdown and a thermonuclear
explosion
that will wipe everything out within 30 kilometers.
Exactly. Ripley says this to Lieutenant, who's, what are you talking about? Burke's like, yeah. Those rounds that they shoot, they're explosive rounds, so we can't have any of those pulse rifles going off. So this is when the sergeant gets them all their cartridges and puts them on to, one guy.
Except for that these are Marines, and they're not idiots, so
A little bit idiot.
A little bit.
They're mostly idiots, in my opinion.
And Vasquez
and Drake,
and Drake. Well, she's hiding.
She hides two extra
the
clips.
Couplers. These aren't clips.
Oh, that's right. They're couplers for the energy. Yeah, because they're
so that the gun can fire.
That's right.
Yeah, so she hands one to Drake, and she keeps one so that they have theirs.
And Hicks pulls a pump action shotgun because he's a badass and smart.
Yeah, and someone else has a regular.
He just has a
handgun,
pistol. Yeah, just some pistols.
Nothing great.
No, but they have, and they say they can still use their flamethrowers.
Yeah.
They keep moving their way down, and then they see the bottom of feet of a person stuck up against the wall. And then they've been cocooned and dead, and now they start to see more and more of the colonists have been cocooned up against these walls, and now they see these open eggs on the ground in front of them. And they see one person is still alive-ish, as she's just completely pale, stuck up against the wall. The first thing she says is, "Kill me!"
Yeah, I think you want that too, if that way go.
Because chest burster, punching your way through rib cage and guts, just so much pain. I can't. Ow! I'd assume as this little alien starts ripping its way out, and then they flame it up,
and it squeals. It echoes down the chambers, and then the drones all hear it and
all the other
start
aliens.
calling back.
What, drones?
Yeah,
well, they are.
Why
do you call them drones?
Because they're not the main ones. They're all the expendable ones.
There's a main one. Spoiler, I haven't seen. Yeah, but a bunch of aliens start literally coming out of the walls because they blend in with the rest of the surroundings.
And on VHS, they blended a lot better, but they still blend.
They still
very
blend with
well
HD
on Blu-ray.
Yep.
Yeah.
And as I remember as a kid too, this part was way too dark. It was really hard to see on. I probably recorded this off of TV. And so a little bit even crappier quality.
Mm-hmm.
But it was always really hard for me to see what the hell was going on. But I think that was part of the point, too, because they don't know what the hell is going on.
Exactly.
Because they're just getting ambushed. They're just getting ripped to shreds. Yeah,
at least 2 of them go
Right away.
instantly.
Yep. And the lieutenant back with is trying to say, okay, he's freaking out. Okay, lay down, suppressing fire, and back up to here. What the hell is going on? What? And then the entire time Ripley's yelling, get them out of there. They're dying. And it's just a panic. Start opening fire and they start making their way out of there.
Ripley does her badass moment number
That's
1
right.
in the movie
Number
by
1.
saying, screw this.
I'm in
and
charge.
grabs the APC
That's
and
right.
drives it into all this stuff herself.
I'm going to get it in there to get them out. Because
Yeah.
they were at the entrance. So she's busting her way in. Yeah, she
She
smashes.
knows how to drive that thing, too. Squealing it around corners, drifting.
She's awesome. Yeah, she makes it all the way and smashes through a barricade that they had. Most of the Marines are up there. Drake gets acid. He shoots an alien and gets acid all over him. He screams and flames hit because he's shooting a flamethrower. Actually, come back and hit the APC, and then they get a little torched in there and just chaos.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just chaos, and yeah, he gets killed. Vasquez says no.
I think it's over half the squad gets killed,
wiped out. Yeah,
or taken away.
That's true, yeah. Ripley backs it out of there and takes off right away. And, then there's an alien attacks the front of the carrier, almost bashes through the windshield, and almost gets her. She manages to slam on the brakes, knock it off, and then run it over right away, crushing it. Barrels out of the area, and Hicks has to say, okay, lay off the throttle. You're just grinding on metal, because she just needed to get out of there. And just adrenaline and panic. They calm down, and then they assess the situation, and it's not good. So, yeah, Bill Paxton's still alive, though. He got a little bit of acid on his arm after a shot a alien in the face. I like that there's smoke everywhere, too. And just, I don't know, you don't know if it's from fire that happened, or I always thought it was from the acid burning of his flesh.
Oh, yeah.
Just a combination. It just looks really, really cool. So, during this time, the lieutenant who was trying to stop Ripley, he got knocked out because a bunch of stuff that was loose in the truck hit him in the back of the head, so he's knocked out. So right now they're discussing, well, what do we do?
Ripley says the most common sense thing of this whole situation of, I think we should nuke it from orbit.
And Hicks says, hell yeah, that's a great idea. But Burke is, hold on, we have to think clearly. This is a very interesting species we have to study. We can't just go ahead and nuke this. And this is a very costly facility. Ripley's, bill me, I don't care. And she says, and well, who's in charge? This is a military operation. So Corporal Hicks, you're next in line and in charge. What do you think we should do? I say we get on a drop ship, go up to the ship, and nuke it from orbit. Sounds good. Let's do that.
It's the only way to be sure.
It's the only way to be sure. And they call the ship, and the ship starts coming over.
Spunkmeister pulls his pants up and
he puts
his hand in some goo.
He puts some hands in the goo.
So we all know what's going to happen.
Yeah, the pilot says, hey, get your butt in here and help co-pilot with me. The door opens, and it's an alien, and then she gets jelly all over the windshield, and then that crashes.
Yeah, I can't see through jelly.
She can't see through.
She got jammed.
She got. Oh, jeez, not another. Oh, we're gonna go through that movie. I have words to say about Spaceballs, but okay. But basically, the ship crashes.
Yes.
And almost crashes and burns up the remaining Marines as they dodge the flaming wreckage.
Big giant projection against the screen that they all run from.
Still looks great.
In my opinion, the big effects didn't quite make it at this point in time because
maybe I have nostalgia.
2 or 3 of those big scale wide shots, which have those. It's a projection.
Sometimes a projection with a model, and it's shaky, and it doesn't look exactly right. Yes.
So, but other than that,
no
problems. I have no problems. But
I have no problems with it. But you're right. I have nostalgia that it just looks awesome, and I'm in the movie. And even if I notice, it doesn't look that good. But yeah, you're right. They dodge the flaming wreckage, and that's when we get the famous line: "Game over, man. It's game over. What are we gonna do now?" Because they have no way of getting out and back to the ship. And Newt says, we have to go back because they come out at night.
Oh, no,
mostly.
that's why they go back.
That's why they go back, because Newt warns them that it's getting dark.
Yeah.
That's when they come out.
So then when they get there, they just state the plan of, okay, we need to lock everything down.
Yep, we're going to barricade ourselves. Yep.
They look at the plans. They judge where they need to put. They have these auto turrets that they're going to put up, and other doors they're going to seal off.
Mm-hmm.
and it's decided that, oh, okay, since the computers in here cannot
Contact the ship.
there's a satellite dish that
Yeah.
needs to be realigned, but that connection is broken from the inside.
Yep.
So they send Bishop through the poop chute.
Yep. He volunteers, and the entire time Hudson is just freaking out. Man, we're all screwed. We're all screwed. He's just completely lost his cool because he's never been in the situation of this stressful situation.
And 2 days to retirement.
Yeah, he did say something about I was gonna have 4 weeks left or whatever, and I was gonna be out of this Marine Corps, blah blah blah, whatever.
Never say that stuff in a movie. Never say that.
He shouldn't. Yeah, he's complaining the entire time. Yeah, they set up the guns. Ripley puts what's her face asleep. Newt.
No!
Puts her down. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention. Yeah, that's right. They found 2 of the face huggers alive in the medical bay.
Yes.
That the colonists who were experimenting on them, were dissecting them, and Bishop was dissecting it, trying to figure out.
2 of them were removed from people
that
and
died.
The people died, and the facehugger died. The other 2 did not make their connection to the people,
Something
and were
like that.
pried off, and those were alive.
But there are 2 alive in jars,
Yes.
basically. Yeah, Ripley puts Newt to bed, and just have a little bit of talk back and forth. Newt says, did you have a kid? Yes, but she's gone now. Basically, monsters exist. I'm sorry that we tell stories that monsters don't exist as parents, but we're doing it the best to protect, but they actually do exist. So we're going to get you out of here, I promise.
And then to make her feel better, she tells her there's a camera.
Camera's right up
and
there.
then she also takes another step and gives away the promise
That's
ring
right.
that
I
Hicks
forgot about
gave
that.
her.
Yeah, Hicks earlier gave Ripley a armband tracker, and I really like this scene because it shows that they're making a little bit of eyes to each other, kind of. That
it's kind of like I said, it's like a promise ring or something.
Hicks even says, this isn't an engagement ring or anything.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And the way she looks at him is, yeah, it is. Then Ripley
Not so much at that point, because it's only like a few minutes later. She's like, okay, here, we'll put this on you.
Yeah, and then she regifts it right away to
Yes.
Newt, and this will keep you safe. I can find you where we can. We got a tracker on you. The aliens test the defense, and so the automatic guns, they have 4 of them. 2 of them, they lose their ammo right away. And then that's when Bishop says, oh, we got a bigger problem over here. Come look at this. And they say, see that? The reactor is going to blow on the atmospheric thing.
Yeah,
It's a huge building. And that's when they say, it's going to blow up in 4 hours.
Yes.
So before we had 17 days to hold up in here. Now we have 4 hours to get out. So he says, okay, now we got the plan to crawl through the tube.
He's going to Shawshank it out of there.
Yeah, he is. And I really like that because everyone's like, I'm not going to do it. Or not everyone, well, Hudson is, I'm not going to do that. That's crazy. And just how Bishop says, I'll do it. I'm fine. I don't want to. I want to preserve my life, but I will do it for you. And so he crawls through.
And it makes sense that he can get away with it because he's not a life form.
Yes.
I don't think the aliens would see him as being anything.
Because they can't basically impregnate him with their alien, their spawn, so there's no point really. Yeah, they wouldn't really be drawn to him to capture him or kill him. Yeah, so he's going to crawl out and contact the second dropship from the large ship in orbit. We get them down here and get him out before explosions.
Second hallway,
second defense system. So now those guns are down too, and they think, oh, the aliens are going to come and get us, but nope, they're still just testing, trying to find a way in their secure area. Then we have a little bit of scene where Hicks shows Ripley how to use the pulse rifle, basically. This is what this does. And put in another clip here. Here's a reader here. The grenade launcher underneath. My gun is so awesome. Awesome props.
Always loved the pulse rifle.
Pulse rifles look amazing. And that's one thing James Cameron did was he basically said, I want everything to look as though if it was real as possible and act that way. There was a little bit when he got the costumers to make armor, and he had it on Bill Paxton, and he told Bill, run and hit that wall. He ran and did it, and all the armor fell off, and just told the costumers, nope, it needs to be strong. That has to be able to actually sustain on the actor to be a little more tough. Ripley is tired. She goes to bed and crawls over
by Newt.
Newt, who is now sleeping underneath the bed with the heater because she feels more safe that way. And you can tell she's having a nightmare as well. And so Ripley cuddles up, and for maybe minutes, you don't know if it's hours or minutes, Ripley falls asleep, but then wakes up. Something wakes her up. She sees the jars that were holding 2 face huggers are now in the room.
On the floor. Empty.
And she had put her pulse rifle on top of the bed, reaches to try to grab it, and it's not there anymore. And now there's 2 face huggers, and they're locked in this room.
And this is where the screaming begins.
Yeah.
And it will not stop for the rest of the movie.
It's the worst part of the movie. And she's not a bad actress, Newt, but she's also a kid. And I don't think he's told her to scream, but yeah, she's just screaming as these things are coming towards him. Burke is seen turning off the monitor in there, so Hicks can't see it. See Ripley calling for help. They're locked in. The windows don't break. She gets a bright idea, though, of putting a lighter to the fire alarm, so then water is coming down.
Some tricks never get old, I guess.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
Because they get alarmed to the situation. They shoot the window, break in, and Hicks does a barrel roll through the window. And yeah, they stop the 2
they shoot
heroically. And the facehugger attacks were awesome. As one is choking Ripley around the neck, they just manage to hold it off and shoot them both, take them out. This is when we find out that Burke did it.
Now everyone knows.
Everybody
Burke did
knows,
it.
yeah.
But there's nothing they can do about it because there is something on the
clank clank beep 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 beep.
Yeah.
Yep. The little sensors start going out. Oh no, the power shuts down. Now there's red lights,
right.
And then they get their sensors out, and basically the aliens are coming. They're coming past the barricades. How is that possible? We don't see them. They're coming into this room. How are they into this room?
Through the drop ceiling.
Yep. As Hicks looks up, and there's a bunch of aliens crawling through the air vents above them, and there's a huge fight. And Burke escapes in the back because he locks everyone else in this room
because he's a jerk.
Yeah. Because Burke's plan was for the company of he tried convincing Ripley in an earlier scene that it'd be good to keep these 2 things alive, but Bishop said no. Burke told me to keep them alive because he wants to study them. And Burke's secondary plan was basically to have the aliens put their eggs in Newt and Ripley, and
sneak them past ICC quarantine.
Exactly, which was important. And then getting money because that's all he cares about. And then all he cares about is
still a bad idea if you only have 4 hours.
And he was going to,
and there's no guarantee you're going to get out of there in 4 hours.
Yep. And his other plan was that he would kill or disable all the Marines' sleep pods. Not a good plan that would have possibly worked, but just shows that Burke's a jerk. And here he is running away, and as he locks the one door out to save himself, but then he tries opening a back door, and there's an alien that eats him.
Backdoor
alien to the face. I assume the little alien mouth comes out because we don't see it. He just screams, he's dead.
It's too bad.
Bye, Polarizer. Dead. There's a big firefight, and then unfortunately Hudson bites it. He's saying, come on, you want some? He's killing a bunch of them, but then through the floor, one of them grabs him and pulls him down, and Hudson is gone.
It was all right. Yeah. It was a good way to go.
He did. He was kicking.
Fighting.
He was actually fighting. He wasn't complaining. He wasn't a coward. He was fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the lieutenant has woken up from his head wound as well. He's there. They cut their way through the door Burke locked, and they're about to go into the other door, but then they realize there's an alien there too. That's when Newt says, through the air shafts. Ducks. And they go through ducks. Anyway, as they're crawling through there, Vasquez gets attacked by one that falls from another ceiling from higher up. She shoots it, but her legs get acid all over them, so she can't crawl. The lieutenant comes back to try to help her. They're getting surrounded by them, so they have a grenade, and they blow themselves up.
And that's is a big scene for me when I've watched this as a kid. Stuck with me, I think, the most.
It's really good because, they're basically holding each other. Lieutenant tried grabbing Vasquez and dragging her as she's still shooting, but they can't go anywhere, so they decide, well, let's end it here. And she says something, you were always an asshole.
And that's the thing, is that this whole movie, she just shit on the lieutenant the whole time. And he put up with it, but then in the end,
he's a hero, and he was a good
would
guy.
lay down himself for his other troops, and they would do the same for him. Yeah, because it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Yeah. At first, you think, "Oh, he's an asshole because he didn't help them out." It's just he didn't. He was so green and terrified. Yeah. He was shell shocked. He didn't know what to do.
In the end, he's a Marine just like they are.
Correct. Yeah.
They're gonna.
Yeah, he comes back with just his handgun and does his best with what he can, while everyone else, and tells everyone else to keep going. Yeah.
And
So it was a very good scene.
yeah.
Yeah. Sacrifices, takes, and slow down the aliens so everyone else can escape. But unfortunately, the explosion knocks Newt down a shaft as they're trying to escape. And she says, Ripley! She slides down the shaft into some water. And but luckily they have the tracker. But as they're trying to cut through the grates to get to her, an alien snatches her and takes her away. So right now, all we have left is Hicks, Ripley, and Bishop, who is now called down the second drop ship. As they're escaping, though, through an elevator, these aliens with their acid blood, Hicks shoots one in the face, but it gets acid all over him, and now he's basically done.
For the movie.
For the movie, yep. He's got all on his left arm and face, and he's being carried by basically Ripley up to the ship, who's now there with Bishop, and she says, "We're not leaving a Bishop." And Bishop's, "We're not? Why aren't we leaving?"
Because they only have 45, 46 minutes left.
That's right, yeah.
So that's why he's confused.
Yeah, we don't have, half an hour left or so.
They were expecting, I think, 26 minutes, but they were able to shave time off of it. So Bishop was all proud. He's like, "Yeah, I got it here even sooner than expected."
Wait, we're not leaving now? What? The Ripley gears up. She gaffer tapes a flamethrower and a pulse rifle together.
The whole getting ready to go scene, even though in the end it's not much of anything, it's always been a really cool gear up sequence.
Yeah, because she's getting a bandolier with all the grenades on them, and she's suiting up for battle. Basically, we're going to take the ship over, the drop ship over to where they drug
all the other people
to Newt to. And right before she's about to leave, she says something to Hicks and says, "I'll be back, Hicks." And then he says, "Name's Dwayne," or just says Dwayne. And then she says, "Ellen." Aww, they said their actual first names to each other. They're gonna totally date after this. Yeah, he's all bandaged up because he's got acid face and arms, and he is out of it. Bishop says, "I'll stay here as long as I can because it's getting worse and worse."
Oh yeah,
the building has got lightning, explosions, and flames everywhere. It's not going to last much longer.
And the ever-present PA system informing her of how much time she has left to live.
You have 16 minutes to be clear for detonation for a safe zone. And she gets in the elevator and she starts loading up the shotgun. The doors open, and she's there ready to do battle. Turns on the flamethrower, and she also has little flares that she puts down so she can find her way back. And she is so freaking smart because as she's making her way down, she can see that the alien tunnels. She shoots fire down there from the flamethrower because it's hard to see those aliens in the wall. So if she hits something, they'll pop down.
The only thing that I thought about that the whole time is, what if Newt's been put into the wall where you're firing that?
True.
Now you cook Newt.
Pretty good.
But yes, I understood why she was doing it.
Yes, in
but
theory,
all I could think of was, thank God Newt's not there.
But she knew that it wasn't. She was probably in the third floor.
Yeah, she paid attention when they went
earlier.
Through because those people didn't start showing up till well into that one room.
Yeah, the further down. As she makes her way down, she finds a tracker that's been knocked off. But luckily, Newt screams because she's tied up or in a cocoon with goop, and an egg opens up and there's a facehugger coming out, and so Newt does her terrible scream. Ripley comes down, saves her, and the building's exploding as well, and so she starts running, and then she realizes she ran into the wrong room. There are eggs everywhere.
And I always remembered this room being at least 10 times larger than what it was.
Wow, that's really true, and it's very small.
It is. It's not that big of a room that the shot is done in.
Yeah.
But the implication is, like, this is an endless room of eggs.
Yeah, that's really the idea of there's a bunch of eggs everywhere, and now there's a new egg being dropped down from a gross sack as the camera follows the sack as a bunch more eggs inside of it, and there's a giant alien queen. They discussed this earlier. How did all these eggs get here if there's hundreds? There has to be something laying these things. So they had the idea that there's something they haven't seen before, and here it is. And she is a giant puppet awesomeness.
All of them are awesome.
Everything's great. I think they said it took 14 to 16 people to operate this huge queen puppet. There's like 2 guys in there, like side by side, moving different arms. And anyway, it's just this awesome.
There needs to be more large puppets like on that scale in movies because that makes it look real.
Yeah, it's right there in front of Ripley, and she starts to back up, but then a bunch of the drones, as you said earlier, are starting to come out from her left and right. but she makes eyes with or says basically, I'm going to not make eyes, but I'm going to torch all your babies if you don't back off. Okay, the queen understands because they are intelligent, and then she starts making her way, and then she says, "Screw you," basically, and just torches the room with flames and unloading.
She didn't have to do this.
She didn't, but
because this is going to happen no matter what.
It's going to blow up no matter what. But she flames the entire room and shoots a bunch of grenades into the queen's sack, egg-laying sack, and explodes. And then the queen detaches herself and starts chasing. Makes her way back because she put the flares down into the elevator. It takes too long. And the elevator should have already been down there. Why isn't it down there? Because she pushes the button and it's back up again.
Sometimes elevators regulate where they stay in order to service more floors efficiently.
I think it was more for the plot and excitement, waiting for the elevator to come down.
What?
I think it was more for that, as the queen is coming. Anyway, but they manage to get on the elevator and go up, but then another elevator to the right.
That's what you get for slapping the button so many times.
Hit it so many times, and the queen's, I think I'm going to ride the elevator up.
She did that.
I get to do the same thing. Things are exploding. Ripley and Newt get back to the top, and Bishop is gone. That son of a bitch robot left without me.
They always do.
They don't always do, but then the robot comes back, and because the platform was exploding, basically, he couldn't stay there as stuff is falling down. And they manage to get on the ship. They get hooked a little bit by some garbage, but they manage to make their way out. And they ride the blast as a huge explosion.
Well, they're well ahead of this blast.
Yeah, I know. With the awesome music that they play in they used to play in a lot of action trailers. That dun 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 kaboom explosion. And they make it back to the other ship. And they're safe and sound. Hicks is basically, he's out. I think they drugged him too. Because of all the pain that he was in. Bishop basically says, I'm sorry I had to leave to scare you, but did I do good? Finally, Ripley says, yeah, you did good. Good job, buddy.
Slash!
Then he starts barfing out milk and yogurt out of his mouth for no reason whatsoever. The alien queen managed to grapple onto the
garbage
because he's in the landing gear.
Landing gear, yeah.
She managed to squeeze her way in there and punctured with her awesome tail, hitting Bishop and pulling him up.
And then ripping him apart.
Oh, that's so awesome. And milk goes everywhere.
I just remember watching that as a kid and just being baffled by it. What? There's tubes and what? My brain couldn't handle it the first
in his gut because his guts are all tubes. And
that's what was inside of the android. I didn't know what an android was either.
Sure. He's got synthetic looking guts. They're
and obviously his processors are freaking out now because he can't really fully control himself.
He flops to the ground and he's flailing a little bit. Half of him, upper half, is still there. Shocked is what's happening.
Very cool.
Yep. Ripley tells Newt to run. She climbs underneath some stuff. Ripley goes and barricades herself in a door. The queen is trying to get Newt underneath the grates. And then Ripley gets in the loader mech and says the famous line, "Get away from her, you bitch!" They have a really good fight as she manages to get the queen into a headlock with one of the pincers and a welding torch to keep the head thing that snaps out, almost hitting her a couple of times, and the tail almost hitting her. And she gets the idea, well, I did it in the first movie, but I can't tell you. I'm going to ruin that movie.
I knew that happened.
Okay.
She says that she did it.
I don't know. Can't believe you didn't watch Alien. Okay, anyway, I did in the first movie. I'm going to do it in this one. I'm going to blow her out of the airlock. And so she basically opens up the airlock, throws the queen down, but the queen managed to pull the loader down as well, and they fall down in a big crash. And as Ripley's trying to climb her way out, Clog holds her down, but she manages to hit the controls to open up the
pod bay doors.
Pod bay doors, yeah, as the queen is sucked out and flails in space
with tiny T-Rex arms.
Little T-Rex arms. But down. But Ripley's so ripped she managed to pull herself up.
Well, here's the thing, is that at a certain point, the pull is not going to be as great anymore because the atmosphere that is inside the ship would have emptied.
Well, it's a really big room. It's a one scene I really don't care for in the movie because it's not believable.
I agree. It's like...
So one scene, she's holding... So... The queen is holding onto her leg, and she's holding on with one arm wrapped around a bar.
The pants or something would at least rip.
And her arm would have ripped, I think.
No.
Yeah.
I think
Or her dislocated shoulder. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But action when she pulls herself out and
if you are a physicist and you can do the mathematical equations, we'd like to hear.
yeah. Well, I think you need to know the dimensions of the room because of all the air that's being blown out into space. How much the Queen weighs. How much muscle mass does Ripley have? Anyway. But as they're being blown out, Newt almost gets sucked out, but Bishop, being awesome, managed, he's only half an android at this point, grabs her and saves her.
He even flops over to get her.
Yep, reaches and grabs her, and they make it all out, put themselves to sleep, and that's really the end of the movie. They're going to go back to Earth.
And all I can
four
do
of
at the
them.
end of this movie now is just seethe in anger over how the third one starts.
Correct. Oh, I didn't see the third one. No, I'm joking.
Well, I'll tell you.
Oh, yeah. And that's the biggest problem is when the third one came out, the movie starts off, I think there's a fire on the ship, they get jettisoned, Hicks and Newt die. Bullshit.
So stupid.
Because we follow through all this movie, we're rooting for them to make it, and they get killed off screen, basically.
Just for the pure fact of not convenient for the next
It's not
story.
convenient for next story. The whole movie's another mess
It's a
and other thing to
shithole.
talk about. It's shot very well because it's David Fincher, but the story isn't there. But that's a
we could
different-
talk about Aliens 4 Resurrection, which has a great director, but the producer's
Who's the director?
Jean-Pierre Jeunet.
Oh, that's right, and it was written by Joss Whedon too.
And it has Jean-Pierre's
That's right.
his stable of actors from
Correct.
City of Lost Children.
I forgot that he did that.
There's so many awesome things, but the movie is just
And
doesn't happen.
and that's what sucks is you have 4 movies. The first 2 are amazing, and then they just screw it up. And then there's Prometheus, we won't get into. But this movie is amazing.
Yes.
It still holds up. It's a huge action movie with such a small budget. They used every trick that they could at the time with miniatures and, matte paintings, rear projection. Sure, you can see the age in some of that. You can tell, oh, that's a model. Doesn't matter because the movie does such a good job getting you into it that
I think it's
don't
the
care.
standard bearer of sci-fi horror.
Yep. It's,
You can't if you can
can't-
get better than this.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
No.
But has anyone done it?
And
I don't think
no,
so.
They've copied this movie numerous times, and they've copied Alien as well. And they're 2 different movies. This one is much easier to watch because it's more of an action, where Alien is more slow.
Mm-hmm.
But they're 2 different movies, but they're both amazing. This one I do like more and have seen a lot more. Even with nostalgia, I say if you haven't seen this movie, and I ruined it all for you, but
No, it's fine.
no, check it out.
Yeah,
great
yeah.
movie.
Well, I have it on Blu-ray, and I was so happy to get it because I'm like, now I own a copy. I can actually watch it. This is my favorite James Cameron film. I can tell you what my not favorite James Cameron film is.
Oh, we'll get to that. Do you like The Abyss?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great movie too.
Now, oddly enough, there are some scenes or sequences in this that I look at. I'm just like, holy crap! It's like you could switch
Yes.
that into The Abyss.
And even Avatar 2 with those Marines, his movies all feel the same except for Titanic. He has good action. There's good things in Titanic, but-
Mainly all the set pieces.
correct. The amazing set pieces, a little bit of action, but again, different movie.
Yes. And I also have to give props to the soundtrack, James Horner.
Yes, that's also very true.
When I saw
Very
his
good.
name come up on screen, I had no idea he had done this, and it was one of those moments of like, "Oh, James Horner did the music for this."
He passed away, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, but very good soundtrack.
Very much in the style of the genre. It wasn't something else put into it. This is kind of what sci-fi horror should sound like.
Agreed, wholeheartedly. Very much in love with this movie.
The other thing is that I've heard other people mention this before, but this is probably one of the most feminist action movies.
Well, that too. Yeah, we didn't even bring that up.
Because our hero is a woman who's a mother
Yep.
who loses her child, the one survivor of the planet, female.
Yeah, basically.
The villain, which is
Female,
the
also.
alien queen, is
Yeah.
not only just a female, but a mother as well.
That's true.
And they all freaking duke it out
They
to
do.
who's going to murder the most.
Yeah, it happens. And I forgot when Ripley comes up and Newt hugs her, she says, "Mommy."
Yes, and I caught that this time. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I never registered that
Hugs
before.
her, it holds her. And that's why the third movie is such a betrayal to these characters and to the franchise, really.
Yeah. Ripley is a badass fucking character.
She's great.
Even in the subsequent films that
Correct.
aren't
No,
as good.
she's still great.
Still badass.
Well, Sigourney Weaver's amazing.
Blu-ray,
Yeah.
It was my first time watching this in HD. Really nice to see a lot of some of the details. But then
Agreed.
Planet Side, when they're outdoors,
You can tell. that it's
ooh,
not
okay,
good.
let's spend less time out there.
And when I watched it a couple times, I could see, yeah, that's a matte painting. But when you're first watching it, you're in the action,
Oh, yeah.
so you don't pay attention. But if you're looking for it, it's there. I watched the documentary behind the scenes that came out in 2003, which is, I think, 3 hours long.
I have 2 discs.
it's very
of
good.
Extra behind the scenes stuff
It's-
for all these.
It's
things,
really
so.
good. It just talks about how they had a hard production with this because it was in England. All the English people love Ridley Scott because he's English. He's Sir Ridley Scott. So all the people on the crew didn't like James Cameron because he's American. This is only a second movie. So they had a lot, and he also didn't like that they had tea at 4:00. And he's like, "No, we have to keep shooting. We're in the middle of a scene. Nope, tea time."
Which is funny because that's almost the same exact way that the English felt about George Lucas shooting Star Wars over there.
Definitely check that out too. The documentary. I think it's called Superior Firepower.
That was Aliens. If you want to get a hold of us and tell us about physics and getting sucked out of airlocks, you can email us.
Blown out. You get blown out of airlocks. You don't get sucked out.
Hey, if I want to get sucked out of an airlock,
Oh, bye. Wait. More dick jokes? Okay.
email us at therewinderspodcast@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at The Rewinders Pod. You can find this podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. Please rate and review.
What I learned from Aliens is if you're barricading yourself in a room, always check the vents and barricade those too, whether it be aliens, zombies, or raptors.
What I learned is if you want to live longer, you live in the vents.
Yeah, the vents. With the
That's all
vent
you-
people.
That's all you got to do.
Oh yeah, I gotta say the thing. We are the Rewinders. Thanks for listening.
Hey.
I can't do it now.
Woo!
Wait.